I'm Danan,
I'm Manisha.
and we originally moved in here in 2012. And about 2 years ago, we started on a project to remodel our house to meet some of our needs and also to make it really comfortable and energy efficient.
And we're excited to show you our place.
When we embarked on this remodel, we wanted to bring together a lot of our interests in reducing our fossil fuel usage and increasing the comfort of our home. And that led us to passive house design principles, net zero design principles, and a variety of approaches to achieving this. And one thing that it really showed us is that to do this, you don't have to be uncomfortable. You can actually live a very high quality of life, and even better quality of life than we did before, where we're not cold in the winter, we're not hot in the summer, and our air quality is really great. And there's no sacrifice really to living in a home that meets these kinds of requirements.
So one of the things that I really wanted in this remodel was a fireplace, but that was challenging because...
Well, the house is all electric, and we also didn't want to put a hole for a chimney in the house in order to keep the house really airtight and efficient. So what we settled on was this bioethanol fireplace, which is really neat because it runs on bioethanol. And it doesn't require any electricity. It puts out enough heat so that we can enjoy the heat, and even if the power goes out in the winter, we can actually use this to heat the house.
So when we originally moved into the house, there were concrete floors, and I was constantly cold. I mean, there were a lot of other reasons why I was cold, but one of the things that was the coldest part of the house was the concrete floor, and there was no heating under the floor, and the cold would just radiate like in through your body. It was hard to live here.
Yeah. So when we did the remodel, one of the ways that we addressed the feeling of warmth here was by using cork floors instead of wood floors. And cork is great because it is a natural insulator. So we have 2 layers of cork here. We have a cork underlayment on top of the concrete, and then we have the cork finish flooring. And with these 2 layers, the floor stays pretty warm underfoot. It doesn't suck it doesn't suck heat out of your feet, basically.
Yeah, and it feels soft. So it's got
And
this
resilient,
nice,
yeah,
it's got a little bit of give. It's great.
So welcome to our kitchen. There's 2 features I want to share with you here. The first one is this island top, which is from a tree that was destined for the dump, but a local lumber fabricator took it and milled it for us into this tabletop. And it's a sequoia, actually, that was cut down somewhere in the city. As you know, sequoias are not native to this area, so instead it became a tabletop for us.
So here's our stove, and this stove it's great. It's been great for us. When we first moved in, my mother came to visit. She loves to cook, and she was really, really worried about it. First of all, she thought it was an electric stove because it looks a lot like electric stoves from way back. And she cooks Indian food, and she just was very skeptical whether it would make the things that she loves to cook for us correctly. Danan actually has a funny story about what happened when she came to cook here for the first time.
Right. So my mother-in-law likes to deep fry things, and this is her very important deep frying thing. And we were really worried that it wasn't going to work on the induction stove. So when she went through all of our pots, she put it here, filled it up, and we all kind of waited on pins and needles as she turned it on. And lo and behold, her very special deep frying thing worked. And she was really happy after that. And now she tells everyone about her daughter's induction stove.
Okay, so it turns out that when you're using an induction stove, you do need to have a certain type of cookware that works with induction. And I was able to find that it's actually quite easy to find. So this is one of the most common makers of this kind of cookware. It's called Tefal, and you can find them anywhere. So that was great.
And then actually what was surprising for us is that we were able to find specialty Indian cookware like this pan that is used to make rotis. And I was really surprised. I went to the Indian stores on University Avenue, and they had a whole section of induction cookware specifically for cooking Indian food. So who knew? So I want to talk about one of the interesting systems we have here. It's called a heat recovery ventilator, and it has two functions. The primary function is to constantly provide us 24/7 fresh air inside the house, and so that happens via this circular duct above my head. It is constantly supplying fresh air to all this space and to all the living spaces of the house. And at the same time, stale air is being pulled out of the kitchen and the bathrooms. And the other thing it does is recover heat from the inside air so that we don't exhaust heat when we get fresh air. And then,
yeah, well, I have to say, Danan, when he was explaining the system that we're putting into this house when we're remodeling, I'm new to a lot of these concepts, so I just really needed to live here to understand how all of this worked and what it would feel like. And my experience of this has been a wonderful surprise. It's just always fresh in this house, and I don't know how else to explain it better, but it's like I've never lived in a house where the air just always feels so clean.
It's like you're always outside on a clean air day in the spring.
It's really neat. Yeah. I was not expecting that at all. The other thing is, just going back to my mom's cooking and her love for making us delicious fried foods. When she cooks in here, we don't have a huge amount of space. It's an open design, but you would expect that you could probably smell the oil in the air for a while, but it turns out that with this ventilation system that we have, within a couple of hours the house is totally fresh again, even after her cooking. So it's been it's really neat.
So after this remodel, our house this past winter used 70% less heat, and we were a lot more comfortable than we used to be in the house. And a big reason for that is because we tightly air sealed this house and put a lot of insulation in the walls. As a result of that, the house doesn't either gain or lose heat very much, and it stays extremely temperate and comfortable inside all year round. So we have 4 heat pumps in this house. The first one everyone's familiar with. It's our refrigerator, and everyone has one of those. And it's basically a heat pump. It pumps heat out of the refrigerator. The other heat pumps we have that are perhaps less conventional are this dryer right here. So it's a heat pump dryer. It doesn't use gas, nor does it use a resistive electrical element to heat up. It uses a heat pump. And one neat thing about it is that it doesn't need a vent to the outside, so we don't have a hole going through our wall, inducing a leak to the house. The other heat pumps we have are our hot water heater and our space heater, our heat pump for our heating and cooling of the house, which provides us both heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summertime. We are enrolled with a new program with East Bay Community Energy, which will control our hot water heater, and it will heat water when renewables are available and energy is cleaner, and it will avoid heating water when they are not. And there's an incentive from East Bay Community Energy to connect your heat pump water heater to this program. We have both solar and storage on this house. This is a 10 kilowatt hour N-phase battery system. We use it for both for offsetting peak electricity usage from the grid, and also as a backup battery in the case of grid outage. Something unique about this was that I installed this system using Enphase's self-installer certification program, which is a course you take to certify yourself to design and install these systems. So we are doing a number of things in this house to effectively load shift our electricity usage. And I want to go over a few of those things. One of them is the electric vehicle charger here, which is enrolled with a program that ensures that the EV charges when electricity is cleaner and also cheaper. And I get paid a small incentive from the EV charger manufacturer to participate in their demand response program. Thanks for visiting our home. We hope that you're inspired by what we did here to make our home greener, more efficient, more sustainable, and more comfortable.